If you suffer from any chronic degenerative health disease and you've been stuck in the mainstream health system and you're trying to get out of it and you're trying to get off of your drugs and you're trying to find a long-term solution where something that you can do that can actually help your body heal through the underlying cause of why you have vertigo, why you have TMJ, why you have trigeminal neuralgia, neck pain, chronic insomnia, cognitive problems, ringing in your ears, and a whole host of other chronic problems that the mainstream system actually terribly fails at. And that's why there's millions of people on TikTok and 72,500 followers on my channel, because they're looking for solutions to their health problems that don't involve drugs and surgery if possible. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to put together a video about some of the neurophysiological cascade of effects that happen from an upper cervical structural misalignment and how all that carries through into these various chronic degenerative health problems that people suffer with. So it all starts from trauma. Your head weighs 10 to 12 pounds. It sits on the top vertebra that weighs 2 ounces. And it doesn't take a genius to understand that if you're in a whiplash injury or you're dropped on your head upside down wrestling, or you have a slip and fall and you land on your butt, some type of blunt, forceful trauma can cause the top vertebra, which sits right under the skull, to dislodge out of position. Now, where bones meet, they meet at joints. And where joints meet, there's a very fibrous ligament around every joint in your body called a joint capsule. And when you have a concussion of force that knocks that top vertebra out of position, the joint dislodges, it tears the joint capsule. And the first thing that happens when you sustain an injury is the muscles guard, they lock down. And when they lock down, the joint over time, it doesn't reposition itself because the joint capsule's torn. It actually heals in that bad position. And typically people, when they have an injury, there's a chronic pattern of muscle imbalance, not just in the neck, but the whole spine that sets up. And when you lose normal joint motion, there's a couple of things that happen. So there's a theory out there called the afferentation theory model, which is purported by Dr. Dan Murphy inside of the chiropractic profession. And basically, to make it really simple, there's millions of nerve endings on the joints. And when a joint's moving the way that it's supposed to, it fires back into the central nervous system and everything's great. When the joint locks and it stays locked and it doesn't move the way it's supposed to, those nerve endings send bad feedback into the back part of the brain here and the lower part of the brain called the brainstem. And the brainstem houses every nuclei in your body that controls balance, heart function, respiratory function, postural muscle tone control. And so that's one thing that happens. There's bad input that fires back into the cord. Number two, when there's a structural disrelationship, we'll back up. When the joint locks, that muscle patterning that I talked about, the imbalance, one of the things that happens is the neck gets thrown forward. You're supposed to have a C shape in the neck like this from the side. And when that joint locks, the muscles, these scalenes tend to engage. It flattens the cervical curve, and that creates tension in the cord. It actually, when the neck straightens, it flattens the cord. It puts tensile stress in the spinal cord. And anytime you have stress in any tissue in the body, it doesn't work as efficiently as it should. So that's another mechanism. There's muscles at the back of the head right here that you see on this poster called the suboccipital muscles. This is the third thing. There's something called the myodural bridge. There's a sheath over the top of the spinal cord. There's these muscles in the back of the neck, and one of them in particular under its surface, there's a connective tissue between that muscle and the sheath that covers the cord. So when those muscles get tight in the back of the head, like so many patients that end up in our office tell us their head is heavy, when that muscle's tight, it actually pulls on the dura mater that covers the spinal cord right at the brainstem and the most critical part of your body. So that tensile stress in there, there's plenty of literature out there showing it's related to headaches. And there's also evidence that because it's pulling and it's putting tensile stress on the cord, it can affect all those vital centers in your brainstem. And so starts from a trauma, affects the joints, affects the postural muscle tone, causes myodural bridge irritation on the cord, bad feedback from the joint into the central nervous system. And your central nervous system is what controls every single function in your body. So it's not a crazy idea when you have an insult to the upper cervical spine and it locks out of position that a plethora of chronic health problems out there that people suffer with have a root cause in the neck. So if you've come across this video and you suffer with Meniere's disease, vertigo, brain fog, low energy, insomnia, neck pain, mid-back pain, low back pain, hip problems, knee problems, insomnia, did I already say that? TMJ issues, occipital neuralgia, trigeminal neuralgia. These are all common things that are seen in an upper cervical chiropractic office. And I hope this video reaches the millions of people out there that are dealing with these types of problems like I was 30 years ago. It's a lot easier to find this type of information than it was when I was messed up. I got lucky. I got referred to a homeopath, and then the homeopath referred me to an upper cervical chiropractor, changed my whole life 30 years ago. And so I'm trying to pay it forward to reach the millions of people in this world that are dealing with chronic health problems and they're sick and tired of taking drugs and medication. So if you've listened to this video to the end, leave your story in the comments section below. We will help you find someone in your area that can help you out of the nightmare that maybe you're living in.